Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today I'm going to be doing another crochet kit that I got from Five Below. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are going to be doing the second box of the Nightmare Before Christmas crochet kits. This is done by Innovative Designs LLC. As you've witnessed in the Jack Skellington video, part 3, I've declared that these kits did come before the Wicked and the Grinch kits, and these were not up to par like they were. So let's see Sally's box. I'm a little nervous because the Sally on the Disney Nightmare Before Christmas book that you can get on Amazon, Sally was a nightmare to construct. So hopefully Sally from Five Below is not going to be as bad. In this box, we are getting a ton of stuff here. We have the embroidery floss, some safety eyes, a crochet hook, we have stuffing, a plastic needle, and then we have these spools of yarn. Now, don't think you're getting these ones. They're just generic looking spools of yarn. They're all different in different amounts. So that's the only misconception there. Alright, so this video is mainly a supplement to the kit. If you really want to make Sally, I highly recommend that you go to your local Five Below and find these kits yourself due to copyright. I cannot share any specific details on the instructions, so I also recommend that the viewers watching also not dispense that information because you don't want to get in trouble as well. So here is the packet of accessories. We get the crochet hook, we get the plastic needles, safety eyes are in here, embroidery floss is actually right there, and then the spools of yarn. Like I said, they're not all the same, it's just different amounts, so it's a little deceiving because you think you're going to get enough yarn, and when you run out, it's like, what do? I don't know. I've just been using my own yarn when I run out, so I kind of freak out when that happens, because I might not have the colors they have all the time. Alright, some stuffing, and then we have a couple of booklets. One is a universal abbreviation list and with a description of how to do those stitches, and then the other one is the instructions. Sometimes they come in multiple pages, but what this channel does, and in this video you're going to find that I teach how to do each new stitch at least 3 times step by step. I teach you how to read the instructions, and then if there's any weird happenings here and there that need explanation, including the assembly, I'll do that. And then sometimes we reveal typos. We did reveal a typo in the Jack Skellington instructions. So it's always good to see someone else screw up so that you don't. Is what I always say. So I will be that guinea pig for you. I think that's the whole point of this channel, so that I can figure out if there's any places where you can get stuck at and try to find out a way to help you out with it. Alright. This was a viewer request. If you'd like to request a video, go ahead and comment below. If you don't want to wait for me to find the kit, you can always take a clear image of the instructions and send that to me via email, and I can try to help you out with that. Okay, so let's get started. If you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear me talking, you can lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. Alright, so this apparently is blue yarn, but in my eyes it looks like maybe like a light mint or something. But anyway, we're starting with this color, and I like the spool. It's kind of close. I like it when it looks close to a ball, or like, one of those long spools or skeins they call them. Let me just go in here and grab my crochet hook. Oh, I thought I dropped this. Oof. I'm going to close this up because you don't want to get your yarn dirty. Just like I thought I almost did. All right, and let's get this started. One tip and trick that I can tell you is that you might want to find the end here. And typically that's an easy thing to do. But what I like to do actually is find the yarn that's inside the spool. Because if you find the yarn outside and you start pulling, your ball of yarn is going to start rolling around whichever way it wants to. So to prevent too much movement, you can always go in here and get oh, and I found that quick. Go in there and try to find the end of the yarn. If not, pull out a chunk. Just go in there and randomly pull out a little bit, like 1 or 2 strands, and pull it out. It might come out in a big clump. It might not, but don't be scared if it does, because if you pull out the wad, more than likely it's going to have the end wrapped in there somewhere. So then you can kind of unravel that part only and start using it. But then after you use that up, then it's going to be a moment where, you know, you can put like a paperweight on it and you're just pulling it and it's not going to roll around. And you just keep doing this, you know, as much as you need the yarn. So I really like to do it this way. So I highly recommend doing it that way. And yes, I will stop. All right. Okay, let me just fix this. And I just put stuff on it. I'm going to put my little lamp on there. Hope for the best that it stays put, because my lamp is not that heavy. Okay. And then let's get straight into this. So we're going to start out with the head and we're going to do round 1. We're working with the magic ring. So let me teach you how to do that. You're going to take your yarn here, that one end. We're going to wrap it around 3 times around your finger. And you have this little bit of overage so that you can put your middle finger right there. Then what you can do now is straighten out your yarn if you'd like. I like everything to be nicely placed. You can tighten up the loops if you need to, but I'm going to take this crochet hook and I'm just going to slip it underneath the 3 strands like this. Then we're going to pull this out. I'm going to drag this strand underneath these 2. So hook that strand by pulling back, twist the hook sideways so you can tuck it into the other 2 strands like that. So now from here we're going to do a yarn over, and a yarn over is basically putting the feeder yarn that I'm pointing at right now. We're going to put it over the hook. So go ahead and you can direct the hook underneath that feeder yarn so you can put it over the hook. And then from here we're going to pull this strand through the loop. Let's do that now. So now from here we can remove our middle finger, slide the loops off your index, and we're ready to go. All right, so we're going to hold this down like this. All right, in between my thumb and index, we're holding that little loop that we secured here. On the left side you should have that excess piece. In the middle you should have your loops, and then did I say the left? This is the right. Did I say the right? Hopefully I said the right. It's getting late, so the right excess piece, middle the 2 loops, and then the left is the feeder yarn. Okay, so now we're going to want to gather up some yarn on our feeder, on our finger. All right, I'm going to underhand my hook. This is going to allow, when you crochet, this is the best holdment, what the heck? This is the best way to hold your hook because it reduces the amount of tension that you put into your stitches, which leads to a looser stitch. If you hold it this way, your grip naturally can get as tense as it wants or as loose as it wants, but normally it's going to be a firm grip because that's how we just naturally are. And when we use that to do our stitches, we tend to make these stitches tight. So to prevent that, hold it underhand. Okay, so let me teach you now how to make a single crochet stitch. So what we're going to do is take our hook and stick it through the 2 loops like this. And then what we're going to do is yarn over like that And we're going to pull this strand through those rings like that. So now we have 2 loops on our hook. We're then going to yarn over and we're going to pull through those 2 loops. So we have our first single crochet stitch. Looking at on top, it looks like a little braid or the beginning of a braid. We have a loop here, a loop here. If we look at it frontwise, looking at it at the front, you can see that the loop here is in the front, loop here is on the back. All right, let's do another one. So again, stick your hook into the rings. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 2 single crochet stitches. We have a loop on this side, a loop on that side. If we look at it at the front, we have a loop on the front, loop at the back. All right, one more time with you guys. Stick your hook into the loops. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops. We're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So one more time, looking at the top, you have your braids going down like this. You have a loop on this side and a loop on this side. You look at the front. Now you have a loop in the front and a loop in the back. All right, so you can rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing these single crochet stitches on your own. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the single crochet stitches required for round 1. And then I'll show you what to do after you've completed all the single crochet stitches. Okay, so from here on, we're going to overhand our hook. And we're going to take our thumb and index finger and just hold it where it crosses. Oh, hold it where it's the beginning of the stitches down here. When you hold it, you want to hold it gently. We're only holding it to stabilize the project. You don't want to hold it too tight because then the loops are going to have a hard time moving. So from here, I'm going to let go of my feeder yarn. I'm going to use my middle finger to hold it back and out of the way. So let's take a closer look at this. We're going to want to pull this excess piece here and you're going to look to see which one of these 2 loops will go inside first. So slowly pull this. All right, and then we see that this loop in the back is the one that's going inside first. So from here, what you want to do is pull this side out of that loop that moved. Don't pull it out from here, pull it out from here. So get that loop that moved and then start pulling that end out. When you do this, you're going to start seeing the other loops start to disappear into the magic ring, and that's exactly what we want to see. So pull that until that loop is gone completely inside and you can't see it anymore. Now we have to deal with this loop here. So you're going to take your excess piece now and you're going to start pulling that until that loop is completely inside the magic ring as well. Now you may still have a little opening here, and the whole point of a magic ring is to go from open to close. So to make sure that this is completely closed, we're going to pull our excess piece in the opposite direction and a little bit up. You're going to feel a little give and pull it till it stops. You don't have to go hard or anything. Just a slow pull till you can't pull it anymore. And then you have yourself a magic ring closed. Okay, so now one thing that this kit does not include, that I'm finding all the new kits don't have these, which is crazy because in the past I've had these stitch markers in there. Sometimes 1, sometimes 4 or 6. None of them have it, and this is a really good tool. If you have a bunch of these are going to help you with your stitch count and your round or row count if you need it. So what I'm going to do for myself, and I recommend you guys do it as well, if you don't have a stitch marker, and they sell them in packets at a hobby store or online for a few dollars, and the more the merrier, you can use different color yarn. you can just cut like a 1-inch strip and then use your crochet hook to put it where you need to put it. The problem with that is it could slip right out. The problem with that is if you use the yarn, like, you might run out of it, you know, so it's always good to get these. So what I'm going to do is slip these stitch markers under the last stitch we just did, underneath the braids. So the braids that I showed you, front loop, back loop, you want to put it under both loops. Make sure you pull, after you put the marker in, you pull it to see if you hadn't accidentally split the yarn. So if you pull it and you don't see a clear hole, like you see this yarn going along with it, it means I pierced the middle of this yarn somewhere, and that's not good. You want your project to be nice and clean for a number of reasons. One of them is because it'll look neat. The other reason is if you have to undo it because either of a mistake or you need this yarn for a different project, let's say, it's easier to undo everything if it's nice and clean. If you have a knot or you split the yarn, it's going to get stuck and it's going to mess up your yarn. So just showing you why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I still pierced it. Just make sure, I gotta make sure that I don't do that. Okay, and having a hard time. Sometimes the yarn is very finicky because it's not of the best quality. All right, so I did it. I'm pulling it and you see that there's a clear hole now. It's not too big, but it's there. You can see it on the side. That means everything is clear. We can close this up and then I can start on to the next round. So it's a lot. It's all these little things that I think are great practices to crocheting, because then you learn how to do things nice and neat. I just, you know, I'm a very meticulous person in that way. So that's why I do that. But at least most of my projects are pretty clean. So I'm happy with that. All right, so for round 2, we're going to introduce a new stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that 3 times. We are introducing an increasing stitch. Okay. So one thing I didn't explain is the parentheses at the end of each round with a number inside. That's pretty much just telling you how many stitches you should end up with after you've completed a round. So let me show you how to do an increasing stitch. What we basically want to do is put 2 single crochet stitches in 1 stitch. So from here, what we're going to do is count back from the stitch marker the number of stitches required for round 1. And then once you've got that, you want to put your hook at that last stitch. So that's how you know where you're going to put your stitch next, because sometimes when you pull the yarn, everything gets jumbled and it's really hard to see where is the next stitches. All right, so once you've insert this, like I said, in this 1 stitch alone, we're going to do 2 single crochet stitches. So let me show you how to do that. You want to yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2 loops. So we have 1 single crochet stitch, we have a loop here and a loop here. That would be front and back. Let's do another one in that same stitch. So stick your hook into that same stitch. So this is another reason why you should have your stitches not so tight, because it would be really hard to fit this metal crochet hook twice, because it's a lot of yarn that we're working with in this little loop. So anyway, let's yarn over, pull through the loop. Okay, make sure you're not piercing any yarn or anything. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. All right, so I don't know if you can see it, but through this 1 stitch alone, we have 2 single stitches coming out. Okay, let's do this again. Stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to do 2 single crochet stitches in this 1 stitch here. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Then stick your hook back into that same stitch we just used. Then we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So from here you can see that we did 1 stitch, We have 2 single crochet stitches coming out of it. Let's do this one more time, you guys. So stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, then stick our hook into that same stitch. Uh-oh, that was crazy. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Again, here's 1 stitch, out comes 2 stitches. So for this part, you can rewind as many times as you need until you feel comfortable doing increasing stitches on your own. But I'm going to go ahead and complete the remaining increasing stitches. And when you're finished with your round, you guys, I highly recommend that you recount all your stitches to be sure it adds up to the number in the parentheses at the end of the instruction. So again, it's a lot to it, but it's good practice. All right, remove your marker, put it under the last stitch we made. Make sure it's clear. Now I'm going to just count back from the stitch marker to see if I have all my stitches required. Okay, and then we're going to start round 3. So now for round 3, and actually all the way down to round 10, it's going to be the same instructions, so I probably won't be as detailed in the remaining rows for that. Is that they're all the same. We have a set of parentheses now in the beginning of the instruction, but there's a bunch of stuff happening inside of it with an asterisk and a number, and then along with the stitch count at the end. So the way that parentheses works in this case at the beginning of the instruction is telling me to work with the instructions inside the parentheses first. And then the next part of it is telling you, in this case, an asterisk. Sometimes you'll see an X with a number, and that means repeat it that many times. So it looks a little foreign, but it's fairly simple concept. So let's work with whatever's in the parentheses first, and then we're going to repeat this however many times that the instructions tell us to. So in the parentheses, we see single crochet stitches and increasing stitches. So let's do that now. And I'm going to pull out the stitch markers to show you something else. Okay, so let's start the parentheses. Okay. Oops, I split the yarn there. Alright, after you complete a parenthesis, if you want to keep count of how many times you're doing this, you can put in a stitch marker every time that you do these, okay? Just remember what color the first one was. Alright, so let's continue this again. And this is all, I'm just exampling why these things are useful. If you don't want to use it still, that's fine. But in this case, it's fairly similar. Some cases, you're doing a lot of instructions, so it's really hard to just remember to do this X amount of times, and sometimes you have new instructions after that, so it's hard to find where you are in your project by just stitch counting. Okay, I've completed another one. I'm going to slip this in there. So yeah, these stitch markers are such a help. All right, so I've completed all the way to the first stitch marker here, which is marking the last of the previous round, so I know I'm done. But like I said, if you ever got lost, if you lose count and you keep these, let's say you got lost, say around here, you can count this 1, 2, 3. That means I've repeated this 3 times. Actually 4, because we're counting this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times. All right, so it's a good way to kind of keep track of where you are in your row. And then when we get to the bigger stuff where you have to repeat rows or rounds, these are also a big help, because sometimes some of the kits I've done, it's like, you know, repeat rounds 4 all the way to 35. I'm like, really? What if I gotta do the like 36 rounds of this and remember where I am? Yeah, you're better off getting as many of these as you can. Okay. Gonna remove the last stitch marker and gonna place it under the last stitch I made. This is gonna indicate that I am now starting round 4. And again, it's the same concept of instructions. We are going to be doing single crochet stitches and increasing stitches. And so for this section, you guys, it's pretty similar. So I'm actually going to do this in silence, and then I'm going to hop back in for after round 10, and I'm going to explain how to do the next set of instructions. Alright, so that was for some reason difficult, but it is getting late, so my brain shuts down at night. We've completed rounds 4 through 10. Now the next set, like I said, these stitch markers are really good to have. We're going to do rounds 11 through 21, and we're doing all single crochet stitches, so it shouldn't be difficult. So let's count off our stitch markers. This is going to be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Let me get some more. I have like a bag of these things. Hold on a sec. Alright. These are all the stitch markers I've collected from all the kits that I've done. So, well, I lost count. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And I try to get the ones that are open because it's easier to slip in. The ones that are kind of closed, you have to stretch them out and then slip it in. Not fun. Okay, so I can go about my day if I have to stop, take a call, or whatever. I don't have to worry about losing my place because it's the same stitch over and over again, and I just have to use up all these stitch markers. So again, very good thing to invest in. The thing that you're going to notice is, like, even right now my project is starting to curl inward, and the thing with this is as we do rounds 11 through 21, it's definitely going to start to curl. You want to have this side here with the excess string to be on the inside. So right now you see that the stitches are a little, you could see them a little bit, but that's not that great. You flip it on the other side and you can actually see the spiral. That's how you know that this is the prettier side. So you have to invert this. You have to flip this inside out. So as you build, you're going to watch me flip that. So I want you guys to do the same thing, because in the end this is going to be a head, and you want to make sure that you don't have some random string sticking out the top of her head. Alright, so again, I'm going to do all of this in silence. All right, that was very long. I completed rounds 11 through 21. I'm gonna have to check where I'm at some point after this head to see if I have enough time to do anything else. But we're gonna move on to round 22. We are going to be introducing now a new stitch called the decreasing stitch. Right, I'm just collecting some yarn here, but we're pretty much almost done with this head. I don't know, for some reason this company loves to make large heads. You know, we have a lot of this blue or whatever color you want to call it, but we still have a long ways to go with the rest of Sally. So I really hope that we have this color left, because it's bringing back memories of Mike Myers, and he had a big head too. And I had to end up using my own yarn to finish that character. So I don't know, let's hope for the best. Okay. So for round 22, we have a set of parentheses. This time we're doing single crochet stitches and decreasing stitches, repeating it the number of times it tells you on the end of the instruction. So let's do our single crochet stitches first. All right, and then now we have to do the decreasing stitch. Let me just show you how to do that. So unlike the increasing stitch, the decreasing stitch is pretty much opposite. We're taking two single crochet stitches and we're turning it into one. So stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop, so you have two loops. Then you're going to stick your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop so that we have three loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all three loops. Alright, so that's how you make a decreasing stitch. We're going to repeat this parenthesis again. So go ahead and do your single crochet stitches, and then I'm going to show you how to do the decreasing stitch for a second time. And again, it's taking two single crochet stitches and making it into one. So stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop to have two loops. Then you're going to stick your hook into the next stitch over. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, so you have three loops. Then we're going to yarn over again and you're going to pull through all three loops. So let's repeat this parenthesis again. And I'm going to show you how to do this one more time. Alright, so we're going to do a decreasing stitch. That's making two single crochet stitches into one. Stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have two loops. Then you're going to stick your hook into the next stitch and we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop to make three loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all three loops. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to do the decreasing stitch three more times, I'm just going to go all the way around and complete the rest of the round. And then we are actually going to do the same process for rounds 23, 24, and 25. So I'm going to hop back in round 26 and we're going to finish the rest of the eyes. I'm going to count to see how much time we have. And maybe we'll have time to do all the detail work, because like Jack Skellington in the previous videos, I like to get all this like detail work out of the way before we stuff, so that we don't have to worry about hiding knots later. Alright, let's finish this. Alright, I completed rounds 22 through 25, and now we're doing the last round. So this one is going to be easy. We're just doing single crochet stitches. I don't think we're going to have time for any of the detail work, which is insanity that I did this whole thing and it took 2 hours. Comment below, let me know if it took you 2 hours. But anyway, next part video, we're going to come back in and do the detail work on the head. We're going to work the legs into the body, and then part 3 will probably be the remaining stuff. Okay, so let's do our single crochet stitches, and I'll stick with you all the way around this because we are going to fasten off. Alright, so I finished the last single crochet stitch, removing the marker because we're no longer doing any more rounds. I'm going to show you how to fasten off. So it doesn't say that we need any tails to use to sew anything. So when you complete something and you want to fasten it off, you can cut about 1 inch or so off of that, and then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through the loop all the way out like that. Then you're going to pull on this to tighten up that loop and turn it into a knot, and then you're done and fastened off. So we're going to end up tucking this in, I guess after before we stuff the head. But like I said, when we come back, we're going to finish the detail work. Comment below, let me know how it went. This was a lot. Like, I don't understand why this was so huge of a head like Mike Myers was. If you had finished Jack Skellington first, if you compare that 2 heads together, it's 2 completely different sizes. This just buys up so much time and yarn. But anyway, it's gonna look cute. Like I said, we'll move on to the next parts in part 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.